Hello. Well, Jesus says if you search the scriptures, and by searching the scriptures, he's talking about the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, the scriptures of the Jewish people. Jesus said in the Gospels, if you search the scriptures, you will see that they testify about me, that they're speaking about me. Missionaries to the Jews, Jews for Jesus, will say to the Jewish people, just look at the scriptures, look at the Hebrew scriptures, and you will see Jesus. You will see it's the Messiah. It's obvious, it's there. Just look at the scriptures. Now, if what they are saying is true, what I want to know is this. Where are all the rabbis in history who have believed in Jesus? Where are all their accounts of their believing in Jesus and why they believe in Jesus? Where is there an account in early Christianity of any rabbi actually believing in Jesus? Because I would presume if there was at least one rabbi in early Christianity that believed Jesus was the Messiah, he would be writing books. There would be lots of literature that rabbi or rabbis, plural, would have written to be convincing their own people that Jesus is the Messiah. But the fact of the matter is there is nothing, absolutely nothing, Christianity, early Christianity, within Christianity, there is nothing written by any rabbi arguing the case that Jesus is the Messiah and why. I would expect, if it's so obvious from the Hebrew Bible, from the Jewish scriptures, that Jesus is the Messiah, if it's so obvious like Jews for Jesus are saying, if it's so obvious like Jesus himself is saying, then I would expect there'd be a plethora of literature out there written by rabbis who believe and have come to believe that Jesus is the Messiah. After all, they are the people that study the scriptures. You go and train to be a rabbi, and you have to learn the Hebrew Bible. You have to know that Bible inside out. You have exams in it. You have to know everything. You have to know all the background, everything. Right? How many rabbis have existed since the time of Jesus? Hundreds and thousands and thousands. 100,000 rabbis have existed, 200,000, 100,000 rabbis, 50,000 rabbis, 600,000 rabbis. How many rabbis have existed since Jesus, time of Jesus? If you had but one rabbi, even one, believed that Jesus was the Messiah, where are the books? Where are the literature? Where is the evidence? Where is the argument? There is no argument. From any rabbi, there's nothing. All we have is Jews for Jesus. All we have are testimonies from Jewish people who just decide for themselves, influenced by Christianity, having spiritual experiences, following their feelings, emotions, impressions, thinking this means this and that means that, and listening to Jews for Jesus and the Christian ministries to the Jews and fellow non-Jewish Christians and so on. Oh, I think Jesus is the Messiah. But I want to know, where are the rabbis? There are no rabbis. There is no literature in Christianity. And I would say that itself makes the whole thing questionable. Because I would expect, if Jesus was the Messiah, the promised Messiah, and it's so obvious from the Hebrew Bible, I would expect a long history of rabbis acknowledging this. I would expect that. Because how many rabbis have existed since the time of Jesus? Hundreds of thousands of rabbis have existed. How many? How many people? How many Orthodox Jews have there been studying the Hebrew Bible for 2,000 years? I don't see a plethora, a whole history of these Jewish people saying, oh, he's the Messiah and I can show you from the Hebrew scriptures. No, there is nothing. And you have to ask the question, if there is no literature, if there's no history of those who study the Hebrew Bible, rabbis, Orthodox Jews, men, and now we have women. These are the people that study the Hebrew scriptures. If it was so obvious, as Jews for Jesus are saying, that Jesus was the Messiah, we would have thousands of rabbis believing in Jesus. We would have lots of people in Lubavitch beginning to believe in Jesus. We would have lots of people in Chabad beginning to believe in Jesus, because these are the Jews that are reading the Bible. They're reading the Bible. They're reading the Bible. But what's happening is the people that are the Jews that are becoming to believe in Jesus are people who've never read the Bible and who just believe what Christianity is telling them. Right? That they just read the Hebrew Bible and just think, well, that sounds a little bit like Jesus. Yeah, I think it does a bit, doesn't it? Yeah, well, he's probably the Messiah then. You see? Where are the rabbis? Where's your evidence? Where's your evidence? There is no historical evidence for rabbis, and I would expect hundreds and thousands of them I'd expect thousands of them over 2,000 years. I would expect a whole literature of rabbis arguing the case for Jesus being the Messiah. That there is not one single piece of literature anywhere that you can find where a rabbi is arguing the case. Yes, Jesus is the Messiah, and I can show you from the Hebrew Bible. There is nothing. There is nothing.